The strange reward Captain Jake stood tall in front of the Grand Human Council. The room was large, shining with cold metal walls, filled with important leaders who watched him closely. He had just returned from a dangerous mission. Leading his soldiers to victory against an alien empire, he expected medals, maybe gold or honors, but what they gave him was shocking. 2 guards entered, dragging a chained alien woman behind them. Her skin was silver blue, smooth and shining. Like the surface of a frozen lake, her long dark hair fell over her face, but Jake could see her glowing purple eyes. She looked proud, even in chains. She did not look broken or weak. There was fire in her eyes. "This is your reward," said the chief counselor, a cold smile on his face. "She is yours now. A gift from our victory. She comes from the royal family of the enemy." The hall was silent. Jake's heart pounded. He had seen slaves before, but this felt different. This woman, though bound, stood straight and looked directly into his eyes. She was not afraid. There was a sadness in her gaze, but also strength. Jake hesitated. He looked at the woman again. Her wrists, bound in thick metal cuffs, her thin dress was torn and dirty, but her head was high. He felt a strange pull. Something inside told him this was not right. But orders were orders. He accepted the chains in his hand. "Come with me," he said softly. As they walked out of the hall, Jake felt every eye on them. Whispers filled the air. Some admired him, some hated him, but none of that mattered now. When they reached his ship, the alien woman said nothing. She sat quietly in the corner of his cabin. But her glowing purple eyes never left him. They watched every move he made, like she was waiting, like she knew something he did not. That night, strange things began to happen. The ship's lights flickered for no reason. Alarms rang without. The control systems glitched, showing messages in an unknown language. His crew grew nervous. "Sir, it's her," said his first officer. "She's dangerous. She's doing this." But Jake was not sure. He remembered her eyes. They were calm, but deep, like they were hiding 1,000 stories. Later that night, Jake sat across from her. He placed a cup of water in front of her. "Who are you?" he asked gently, but she stayed silent. Her eyes just stared into his. Searching, he felt as if she was measuring his soul. When he left the room for a moment, he returned to find a surprise. The wall behind her was glowing with strange symbols. Alien writing, bright and soft like moonlight. He touched the wall. It felt warm. The symbols pulsed slowly, almost like a heartbeat. His crew came running. "Sir, our navigation system just changed course. We're being pulled toward an unknown sector." Jake turned back to the woman. She sat still, her face calm, but her purple eyes glowed brighter now. There was no fear in them, only patience, he wondered. Was she controlling the ship? Was this a trap? Or was someone else watching them both? Suddenly, Jake felt a chill run down his spine. He realized that taking this alien woman aboard might have been the biggest mistake of his life, or the beginning of something far greater. The mystery around her was growing. Who was she really? Why was she given as a gift? Why did her presence make the ship behave so strangely? And most importantly, why did he feel that she was not really a prisoner at all, but someone far more powerful than anyone could imagine? As the ship's alarms continued to scream, Captain Jake knew one thing for certain. His life had just changed forever. Captain Jake sat alone on the bridge of his ship, staring at the stars outside the window. His crew moved quietly, uneasy, since the alien woman had come aboard. Nothing had felt normal. The ship's lights still flickered. Doors sometimes refused to open. And computer screens flashed strange symbols that no one could read in the corner of the bridge. The alien woman sat silently, her wrists still in chains, but she looked peaceful. Her glowing purple eyes followed everything. The crew, the screens, Jake himself. She never spoke, never resisted. but her presence felt heavy, like she carried a secret that no one could guess. Some of the crew whispered about her. "She's cursed." One said, "She's sending signals to her people." Another claimed, but Jake was not sure. He had seen fear before. This was not fear. The woman sat like a queen, even in chains, late that night. Jake walked through the quiet halls of his ship. He felt tired, but curious. He stopped outside the room where she was kept. The door slid open silently. Inside, he found her sitting cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed, but something strange was happening on the wall behind her. More alien symbols glowed, beautiful and smooth. They danced slowly, changing shape and color. He stepped closer. The wall felt warm, almost alive as he reached out his hand. The symbols responded, shifting faster. Then she opened her eyes. "You shouldn't touch that," she said softly. It was the first time she had spoken. Her voice was calm, but powerful. Each word clear, carrying weight. Jake froze. "You can speak," he said, surprised. She nodded slowly. "I understand your language," she replied. "But until now, I had no reason to speak." He sat down across from her. "Who are you?" he asked again. For a moment, she said nothing. Then she answered. "I am Arya," she said. "Princess of the Celery, the people you defeated." Jake felt a chill. He knew the name Celery were known for their advanced knowledge and mysterious powers. Their empire had fallen quickly, almost too easily. And now their princess was sitting here, chained on his ship. "Are you controlling my ship?" he asked carefully. "No," she replied, "but your ship listens to me. It knows me." Her eyes glowed brighter. "Your ship is old," she continued, "older than your people understand. It was built using Solari technology long ago. That is why it reacts to me. It remembers." Jake's mind raced. All this time, humans believed their ships were human inventions. But now, Arya was telling him the truth. This very ship was connected to her people, to a history long hidden. Suddenly, the ship's alarm rang again, loud and sharp. "Captain, come to the bridge." His officer called over the intercom. Jake ran back, Arya following quietly behind him. On the main screen, a new danger appeared. An unknown ship, sleek and black, had just dropped out of hyperspace. "It's not one of ours," his officer said nervously. The ship outside was large, powerful, and armed. But there were no flags, no signals. It sat silently, watching them. Arya stepped forward. "They are here for me," she said softly. Jake turned to her. "To rescue you?" he asked. She shook her head. "No." "To kill me?" The bridge fell silent. The crew stared at her in shock. "But why?" Jake asked, confused. Arya looked down for a moment, then met his gaze. "Because I carry secrets," she said. "Secrets they want to erase forever. Outside." The enemy ship powered its weapons. Red lights flashed on Jake's console. His crew looked to him for orders, but Jake's eyes were fixed on Arya in that moment. He realized that this woman was far more than a reward or a prisoner. She was the key to a mystery that could change everything humans knew about. "The galaxy, shield up," Jake ordered. "Prepare to move," but in his heart, he knew this was only the beginning. Behind her silence, behind her chained hands, Arya was hiding a story that could shake the stars themselves as the enemy ship began its attack. Jake made a silent promise. He would protect her. He would find out the truth, no matter what it cost. The dark enemy ship outside moved fast, its weapons charged, lights glowing red. Inside Captain Jake's ship, tension filled the air. His crew waited for orders, their hands shaking slightly. Arya stood beside Jake, her chains still around her wrists, but she looked calm. Her purple eyes locked on the enemy ship's image on the screen. "They won't stop until I'm dead," she said softly. Jake felt torn. His orders had been clear when he left Earth. Bring back trophies of war. Follow human command. But this was no ordinary situation. His instincts told him that Arya was important, that she carried a secret even bigger than the war itself. Raise shields. Jake ordered loudly. The ship's energy shield hummed to life just as a bright laser beam from the enemy ship hit them. The bridge shook, sparks flying from the panels. His crew began to panic. "She's the reason they're attacking us," shouted his first officer. "We must chain her tighter. Lock her away. Maybe they'll stop." But Jake shook his head. "No," he said firmly. "She's not the enemy. We protect her, no matter what." Arya looked at him quietly. For the first time, Jake saw a flicker of surprise in her eyes. Was she used to humans treating her as nothing but property? Maybe his trust was something new for her. Outside, the enemy ship fired again. The shields held, but just barely. "Captain, we can't keep this up," said his engineer. "They're stronger and faster. We can't outrun them. We can't." "Fight them head on," Jake's mind raced. Then he remembered something, the old asteroid field nearby. Dense, dangerous, but maybe their only chance. "Plot a course for the asteroids," he ordered. "Sir, we'll be crushed if we go in." "There." His officer protested. "Better that than sitting here and waiting to die." Jake replied. The ship turned sharply, engines roaring. The crew held on as they dove into the asteroid field. Huge rocks floated all around them, spinning slowly. Colliding with each other, the enemy ship followed closely, its weapons still firing. Arya stepped forward suddenly. "I can help," she said quietly. Jake turned to her. "How?" he asked, desperate. "Your ship's navigation is old," she explained, "but it understands me. I can guide us through this field safely, but you must trust me. And remove these chains for a moment." Silence filled the bridge. His crew stared at Jake in disbelief. "Captain, you can't be serious." One of them said, "She's the reason we're being attacked." Another yelled. But Jake looked into Arya's eyes. He saw no fear there, only calm confidence. And a strange kind of sadness. He felt he could trust her with a quick motion. He unlocked the chains around her wrists. The heavy metal cuffs clattered. To the floor, Arya rubbed her wrists gently, then moved to the control panel. She placed her hands on the glowing surface. Immediately, the ship's systems changed. The screens lit up with new symbols, bright and beautiful. The ship's path through the asteroids became clear, almost like the ship itself knew exactly where to go. "Hold steady," Arya said softly. The ship weaved and danced between the massive rocks, faster and smoother than ever before. Even the crew watched in amazement as the alien princess guided them through the deadly field. But the enemy ship was not as lucky. It struggled to follow, hitting smaller asteroids, getting scratched and damaged. Finally, a giant rock struck. It sighed, an explosion filled space as the enemy ship was destroyed. Cheers erupted from Jake's crew, but Jake was quiet, watching Arya. She had saved them. She had proven she could be trusted. When they cleared the asteroid field, Arya turned to Jake. "Thank you," she said simply. But before Jake could speak, a new alarm rang. "Captain, more ships incoming," shouted his officer. "How many?" Jake asked quickly. "A whole fleet, sir." The officer replied, 10. "No, 15 ships, all unknown." Jake's heart sank. They had escaped one enemy, but more were coming. He turned to Arya. "Why? Are they after you?" he asked urgently. Arya lowered her head. "Because I know the truth," she whispered. "The truth about your people, about your ships, about your history. And they don't want that truth to come out." Jake stared at her. He realized that this was no longer just about one alien woman. This was about something much bigger, a secret hidden deep in human history, a secret that could change everything. The chase was not over. It had only just begun. Captain Jake stood on the bridge, his hands gripping the edge of the console tightly. Outside, the stars seemed distant and cold. 15 unknown ships appeared on the scanner, slowly surrounding them. His crew watched the screens nervously, waiting for his orders, but his eyes were fixed on Arya. She sat quietly in the captain's chair beside him, her silver-blue skin glowing faintly in the dim light. Her chains were gone, but something about her posture was different now. She did not look like a prisoner. She looked like a leader. "Arya," Jake said carefully, "you said you know the truth. What truth?" Arya turned her head slowly. Her purple eyes met his, filled with sadness but also determination. "Your people think they built these ships," she said softly. "But the truth is, your ships, your technology, all came from us, the crew." Gasped. Jake froze. He had heard rumors before, stories about ancient alien help in early human spaceflight, but those were dismissed as myths. Now Arya was confirming them. "Long ago," Arya continued, her voice calm but heavy with meaning, "your ancestors found an abandoned Solari colony. Our technology was left behind when our empire was fighting its own wars. Humans used what they found to build their first starships. Your council knows this, but they hide it. They fear what your people would think if they knew their greatest achievements were borrowed, not earned." Jake's heart raced. Everything he had believed was now in question. The mighty human fleets, the proud claim of human strength and genius, all of it built on secrets. And here sat the last living Solari princess, the one who could expose it all. Suddenly, one of the enemy ships outside sent a message. "This is Commander Zur of the Shadow Fleet," the voice said coldly. "Hand over the Solari woman immediately. This is your only warning. We do not wish to destroy you, but we will if you refuse." Jake felt the eyes of his crew on him. Some whispered that they should surrender Arya to save themselves. Others looked uncertain, but Jake made his decision. He turned to Arya. "Why do they want you dead?" he asked quietly. Arya took a deep breath. "Because I am the last witness," she said. "I know which planets helped hide the truth. I know the codes hidden inside your ships. If I live, the truth will come out, and the powerful ones fear that more than anything." Outside, the enemy ships moved closer, their weapons locked on Jake's ship. "Captain," Arya said gently, her voice steady, "if you surrender me, they might let you live. But if you protect me, you will be hunted forever." Jake looked at her closely, despite her calm words. He could see the pain behind her eyes. She had lost her people, her home, her freedom. But even now, she offered him a way out. He shook his head slowly. "I don't abandon those who trust me," he said. "And you've trusted me by telling this truth." Arya's expression softened. For the first time, she gave him a small smile. "Thank you, Captain," she whispered. Jake turned to his crew. "Prepare to fight," he ordered firmly. "We're not giving her up." His crew hesitated, unsure. But they followed his orders. They had fought by his side before, and they trusted his judgment. Arya moved to the controls again. The ship's systems glowed brighter under her touch. "I can give your weapons more power," she said. "Your ship knows me. It will obey. We can make a stand, but it will not be easy." Jake nodded. "We'll do what we must," he replied. The enemy ships began their attack. Bright beams of energy fired toward Jake's ship, but the shields held strong. Arya's presence seemed to awaken the ship itself. The controls moved faster, smoother. Jake could feel it. The ship was no longer just a machine. It was alive. Lasers fired back, striking to enemy ships and forcing them to retreat. But more enemies took their place. Amid the chaos, Jake's thoughts kept returning to Arya's words. The truth about humanity's history, the lies hidden by the Human Council, and now a secret war to keep it all buried. He realized this was bigger than his life, bigger than this battle. If the truth stayed hidden, the cycle would continue, war after war built on lies. But if Arya survived, maybe things could change as the battle raged around them. Jake made another silent promise. He would not let her die. He would protect her, and together they would bring the truth into the light. Allies or enemies. The battle outside raged on. Captain Jake's ship twisted and turned through space, dodging enemy fire. Arya stood at the controls, her silver-blue hands moving quickly across the glowing panels. Every system responded to her. Touched like she belonged there. The crew watched in awe, but also with doubt. Some whispered that she was leading them into a trap. But Jake trusted her. She had saved them before, and now he believed she was their only chance to survive. Arya's purple eyes glowed as she spoke softly to the ship. Alien symbols appeared on the screens, giving guidance that no human could read. "There's an old jump point ahead," she said, "hidden from human maps. We can use it to escape, but I need you to hold them off until then." Jake nodded. He gave quick orders to his crew. "Arm all weapons. Keep them busy while Arya prepares the jump." His crew obeyed, but tension filled the air. His first officer leaned close to him and whispered, "Sir, how do we know she's not leading?" "Use straight into a trap. She's alien. She was our enemy. Can we trust her now?" Jake looked at Arya. She did not seem afraid. She seemed focused, determined. He shook his head slowly. "She's the only one who's trying to help right now. Trust her." Outside, the enemy ships pressed closer. Bright beams of energy filled space, shaking Jake's ship violently. Sparks flew from broken panels and alarms screamed across the bridge. Suddenly, Arya raised her hand. A strange glow spread through the ships. Controls, the engines roared louder than before. The whole ship felt lighter, faster, almost like it was alive. "Hold tight." She called out. The ship accelerated sharply, racing toward a small, dark patch of space on the screens. The enemy ships struggled to keep up, their weapons missing now. Just before they reached the hidden jump point, something unexpected happened. Another human ship appeared, a massive battleship from the human fleet. Its weapons powered up and its captain's voice filled the bridge. "This is Captain Ronan of the battleship Falcon. Captain Jake, you are ordered to stop immediately and hand over the alien. She is property of the Human Council." This is a direct order. Jake froze. His own people had arrived, but not to help. They had come to take Arya away. His crew looked at him in shock. His first officer spoke nervously. "Sir, it's the Falcon, our strongest ship. We can't fight them. If we refuse their order, we're finished." Arya stepped beside Jake. "You have a choice now," she said softly. "If you give me to them, you and your crew will live. But the truth will die. If you help me escape, we might still have a chance, but you will be hunted by your own people forever." Jake's mind raced, his loyalty to humanity, his oath as a captain. But deep inside, he knew this was bigger than orders. He remembered the truth Arya had told him, the ships, the history, the hidden lies. He looked at his crew. "Anyone who can't stand with me is free to leave," he said firmly. "But I will protect her. We're not handing her over, not to the enemy. Not even to our own fleet." A few crew members looked uncertain, but most stood at their stations, ready to fight. Slowly, his first officer nodded. "We follow you, Captain," he said quietly. Arya smiled slightly, for the first time since she had stepped onto the ship. She looked truly hopeful. Jake turned back to the screen. "Captain Ronan," he said clearly, "we refuse your order. Arya is not property. She's a person. We will protect her." There was a moment of silence. Then Captain Ronan's voice returned, colder than before. "So be it, Jake. You are now an enemy of the human fleet." The Falcon powered up its weapons. Arya placed her hand on the control panel. "The jump point is ready," she whispered. "We can escape if we trust each other." "Do it," Jake said, without hesitation. The ship jumped. Space itself seemed to fold around them. The stars twisted and spun. The enemy ships and the Falcon vanished from sight as they crossed into unknown space. When the jump was complete, they emerged in a quiet sector filled with strange blue light. It felt peaceful, but Jake knew they were far from safe. His crew looked at him, waiting. They were no longer part of the human fleet. They were fugitives now. Arya spoke softly. "You chose to stand with me. I will help you understand the truth. And together, maybe we can change everything, but deep in the shadows of space." Jake felt the weight of his decision. He had turned against his own people. His friends might soon become his enemies. His allies were few, and the hunt for them was just beginning. The Propazalthi stars outside were calm. But inside Jake's ship, everything had changed. His crew had followed him into exile. He was no longer a hero of the human fleet. He was now marked as a traitor. Arya sat quietly beside him on the bridge, her purple eyes watching the stars. Even in this moment of peace, Jake could feel the weight of danger. Human ships would come for them soon. The alien forces who wanted Arya dead would not stop. His crew whispered among themselves. Some were afraid, some angry. But all of them waited for Jake's next move. Jake knew that running forever was not the answer. He had to do something bold. Something no one expected. He turned to Arya. "Arya," he said, his voice steady. "There's only one way to stop this war. We must show both sides that peace is possible. Not with words, but with actions. Something so shocking that no one can ignore it." Arya looked at him carefully. "What do you mean?" she asked softly. Jake took a deep breath. "Marry me," he said. The bridge fell silent. His crew froze in place. Even Arya's calm face showed surprise for the first time. "Marriage," she repeated, confused but curious. Jake nodded. "If we marry, it will send a message. The war was meant to divide humans and your people forever. But this will prove that we can be more than enemies. We can become allies, family, even more." Arya stayed silent for a long moment. Her fingers traced the edge of the control panel gently. Then she looked into Jake's eyes. "This is not something my people would understand," she said quietly. "We are so different. We were taught to hate humans, just as humans were taught to hate us. That's why it must be us." Jake said firmly, "We have to be the first to break this hate. If we do this together, others will see that peace is possible." Slowly, a soft smile appeared on Arya's face. "You are brave, Captain," she said. "Very brave, or very foolish." Then, to everyone's shock, she gave a small nod. "Yes, Jake, I will marry you." A soft gasp spread across the bridge. The crew exchanged stunned looks. They had never expected this, but they also knew Jake well when he made a decision. He did not waver. Jake stood up. "Prepare a message." He told his communications officer, "Broadcast it to both human space and Solari space. Tell the whole galaxy that Captain Jake will marry Princess Arya, and that this marriage will mark a new beginning, a chance for peace." The message was sent. Within minutes, responses began flooding in. Some were angry, filled with hate and threats, but others were curious, even hopeful. "Sir," said his officer, "we are getting unexpected support from small colonies, independent worlds. Some say they will stand with you. Some say they want peace too." But even as hope began to rise, a dark warning came. A coded message from a contact on Earth. "Captain Jake, beware, a plan is already in motion to stop this wedding. There are forces in both governments who fear peace more than war. Assassins have been sent. You are being hunted." Jake read the message carefully. He turned to Arya. "They won't let this wedding happen easily. he said quietly. "We will have enemies on both sides. But we can't stop now." Arya nodded slowly. "I know," she replied, "but we can choose the place and time. Let us invite everyone, humans and Solari. Let the whole galaxy watch. If they want to stop us, they'll have to do it in the open. Let the truth be seen by all." Jake smiled. "A perfect idea," he said. "We will not hide, we will stand in the light together." The crew worked quickly. Invitations were sent far and wide. Messages broadcast across every channel. The wedding would take place on a neutral planet, a quiet place where no army could claim control. It would be watched live by billions, a human captain and an alien princess joining together not as conqueror and prisoner, but as equals. But Jake knew the risks. This would not just be a ceremony. It would be a battlefield. Their enemies would come. Assassins would hide in the crowd. Ships would wait in orbit, ready to strike, yet in his heart, Jake felt strong for the first time. He was not running. He was fighting for something real: peace, love, and truth. As the crew prepared the ship for the journey to the wedding world, Arya stood beside him. "We have come far, Jake," she said softly, "but the hardest part is still ahead." Jake nodded. "We'll face it together," he replied, "and we will not give up." The stars outside seemed brighter. A new future was waiting, but so was danger. The galaxy was watching. And the battle for peace was about to begin. The quiet planet where the wedding would take place floated in the middle of neutral space. Its skies were blue, its forests green and peaceful. But today, it was surrounded by warships. Some came as guests, some came as enemies in disguise. In a wide-open field under the sun, Jake stood, dressed not in military uniform, but in simple white clothes. Arya stood across from him, her silver-blue skin shining in the light. Her chains were gone forever. She wore a flowing dress that blended human and Solari styles, a perfect symbol of their union around them. Thousands of people had gathered. Humans, Solari, even other alien species, and far above, billions watched on screens across the galaxy. Everyone waited for this moment, a moment that could change everything. But danger was close. Jake's crew scanned the area carefully. Hidden snipers, shadowy assassins, and secret agents from both human and Solari governments were all ready. In position, their orders were clear: stop this wedding, kill the bride and groom if needed. But Jake and Arya stood tall. They knew the risks. They had chosen this path. A neutral elder stepped forward to begin the ceremony. He spoke simple words: "Today, a human and a Solari joined together to who were meant to be enemies. Choose peace instead. Let this bond show us all a new way." As Jake took Arya's hands, a sharp sound broke the silence. A sniper shot, fast, deadly, heading straight for Arya. But Jake moved without thinking. He pulled her close and turned. The shot missed by inches. Hitting the ground, chaos followed. More shots rang out. Some guests screamed. Others ran for cover, but many stood firm. Some humans, some Solari, and even others, all refusing to let the wedding turn into a massacre. Arya's eyes glowed bright. She raised one hand, and the ground itself pulsed with alien energy. A shimmering shield spread around the field, protecting everyone who stood. For peace, above, enemy ships in orbit began to move, weapons charged, aiming at the planet. Jake's ship, still in orbit too, responded quickly. His loyal crew fought back. A small ship against a fleet, but they fought with all their skill and courage. On the ground, Jake spoke loudly. His voice carried over the noise. "Look at what they fear. They fear to people choosing peace. They fear a future without war. But we will not give up. Today is not the end. Today is the beginning." His words were broadcast across every screen. People everywhere watched in silence. Even soldiers aboard warships hesitated. their fingers frozen above their weapons. Slowly, something incredible happened. Small ships in orbit powered down there. Weapons. A Solari cruiser sent a message. "We refuse to fight. This wedding will go on, one by one." More ships stood down. Even some human ships hesitated, choosing not to fire. The assassins on the ground were surrounded by brave guests who refused to let them act. The power of Jake and Arya's choice was stronger than bullets, stronger than lies. Arya smiled at Jake. "You were right," she whispered. "We can change everything." Jake squeezed her hand gently. "Together," he said. The elder spoke again. "By your own promise, and before all who watch, I declare you united. You are no longer enemies. You are partners. You are husband and wife." The crowd erupted in cheers. Humans, Solari, and many others raised their voices together for the first time in a long, dark history. Hope had won over fear. But Jake knew this was only the first step. There would still be challenges ahead. Enemies would still plot in secret. Old hatreds would not vanish overnight. Yet today proved something powerful. Change was possible. Even the deepest hate could be transformed. Later that night, Jake and Arya stood together under the stars. No longer captain and prisoner, no longer human and alien, but two people who had chosen love. The stars above seemed brighter. A new future was waiting. And though war still lingered in the shadows, they would face it together, hand in hand, as husband and wife, as symbols of a galaxy that could one day learn to heal.